7 o'clock on your Friday morning, and a coronavirus vaccine is one step closer to rolling out across the country. This morning, everything that still needs to be done before people can get it.
I'm on call for when it gets delivered.
Here on Up with KREM, we'll tell you what hospitals are already doing to get prepared. Plus, Dr. Bob Lutz has a new job just a month after being removed from his position as Spokane Regional Health District's officer. We'll fill you in on his new role today. Plus, we've got the best way for you to get your holiday light fix right here in Spokane.
And this is a way to stay safe.
We'll tell you about the lights that start tonight as a drive-by event that you won't want to miss.
Help those lights seem a little more festive. A little bit of snow starting to fall now, but we're talking a couple inches by tonight. I'll let you know how this one plays out.
Up with KREM begins now.
We want to thank you for joining us this morning here on Up with KREM. I am Joshua Robinson, joined by meteorologist Jeremy Legoo. We can look outside and see just a little bit of that snow coming down this morning. It is hard to see on the cameras, but we do want to get you the information to get you out the door. Jeremy, what are we looking at right now?
Now we're looking at the onset of this snow. The snow is definitely going to pick up in intensity over the course of the next few hours, so do expect a little more as we scoot through the day. Roads are wet, we're seeing it stick in some locations, but I believe the bulk of this is really going to impact the evening commute. We have the snow coming down in a few locations and temperatures hanging out right around, if not just below freezing early on this morning. A winter weather advisory is in place for that snow. It's 1 to 2 inches in those purple shaded areas. Some locations locally could pick up close to 3, but you got to go up a little in elevation to squeeze out a little more moisture from this system. We're seeing the snow spread in. You can see it kind of moving its way up. I think the Palouse takes a bulk of this, and it really starts working its way into the inland northwest here. In the next hour or so, we'll really start to see the snow come down. By the middle part of the day, expect it to be at its heaviest and that snow to continue right on into this evening and then kind of taper off overnight before we catch a bit of a break tomorrow. Our temperatures stay pretty close to freezing today. This snow is coming down thanks to a pool of cold air sitting just overhead, and that cold air is going to be pulled down closer to the ground by all of this snow, and all said and done, we're talking 1 to 2 inches of it here in town. But to get a check on the roads, we got to toss things out to Brandon T. Jones. And Brandon, I think I see the snow actually sticking around you right now. Is that the case?
Well, yeah, there is a little bit of snow coming down. There's not too much empty parking lots like the one I'm standing in right now. You can obviously see it a little bit more. But on the main roads, there's really not too many problems. I'm up here on the South Hill, Spokane South Hill, and, you know, there has been a little bit of snow, but like I said, for the most part, it's really just melting once it hits the ground. You shouldn't have too many problems, but keep an eye out because some areas are a little bit more slicker than others, of course. I think what some of the real problems you'll have, though, is kind of just walking around, you know, those sidewalks. Those can catch you slipping, no pun intended. I have almost fell multiple times myself, so just keep an eye out for those and stay safe out there on the roads.
Fall, we're going to be checking in with you throughout the morning, so please don't fall. Keep yourself safe out there on the roads and the streets. A government advisory panel has voted this week to recommend widespread use of the coronavirus vaccine from Pfizer and BioNTech. That vote, as we mentioned, came yesterday as the nation now continues to face a record number of daily deaths. The Food and Drug Administration is now expected to follow suit, and officials say the authorization could come within days. Some hospitals have already been sent vaccine kits containing syringes, masks, and a diluting agent.
The logistics here are going to be complex, but we're really excited about it.
The vaccine is coming at a time when the U.S. is seeing a record number of daily deaths. More than 3,100 Americans died on Wednesday. Here in the inland Northwest, local case numbers do continue to stagger our elected leaders and health officials.
Sadly, more than 1,100 of our fellow Idahoans have died from this dangerous and highly contagious disease. COVID-19 is now the third leading cause of death in Idaho this year, trailing behind heart disease and cancer. And COVID-19 was the #1 cause of death in Idaho in November.
The first doses will go to healthcare workers and nursing home residents, with most of the general public not expected to get their shots until the spring. Meanwhile, a Northwestern man who took part in a Moderna Stage 3 vaccine trial is saying everyone who has a chance to get the vaccine should, and they should absolutely do it, he says. Bob Ball, one of tens of thousands of Americans who took part in either the Moderna or Pfizer clinical trials for the vaccine. That study lasts 2 years, and as part of that study, researchers did not tell him whether or not he got the actual COVID vaccine or a placebo as part of the study. But Ball tells us that he knows he was given the vaccine because of a chance sore throat he got 1 month later, followed by a COVID test.
I tested negative for COVID, but they said, wow, you have a lot of antibodies. So that's the moment I knew I got the vaccine. And honestly, like then I didn't sleep because it was a feeling almost like of euphoria.
Coming up at 7:25 this morning, we'll hear more from Bob about his experience, including why he thinks everyone should get the vaccine when it's available. Right now, we are following up on breaking news from last night as one person was killed after colliding with an old military vehicle on Highway 2 late last night. Traffic was backed up for several hours, but lanes in both directions are now open this morning. It happened just east of Fairchild Air Force Base in the westbound lanes. We are told the driver of a smaller car pulled out in front of the military truck, and that truck was not able to stop in time. Time now for your morning rush. More news in less time. Spokane police have identified the suspect in Wednesday's bomb threat at the Spokane Democrats office. Peter Yeager made his first appearance in court yesterday and is facing charges of arson, burglary, and threatening to bomb property.
His hope was to make a statement that would be recognized on a national level and that would bring attention to the frustrations that he has and he purports the nation has with the way a government is currently being run.
The bomb squad determined that the device was not explosive, and in court it was revealed that Yeager's hope was to burn the building down but not to hurt anyone. A judge set his bond at $500,000 yesterday. A human rights memorial in Boise is getting national attention after it was vandalized with swastikas. The CEO of Chobani Yogurt made a $20,000 donation to help clean away the hate. And he urged people to be the light this Hanukkah, as the holiday did start last night. And he says he stands with Boise against hatred. Spokane's former regional health officer, Dr. Bob Lutz, has a new job. He is the newest member of the Washington State COVID response team. The Washington Department of Health says he accepted an offer to work for them earlier this week. And a department spokeswoman told KREM Dr. Lutz's experience as a local health officer and his clinical expertise will bring great value to our state's response efforts. Saturday's UW football game against Oregon has been canceled because of COVID cases reported inside of the Husky locker room. Washington's scholarship roster is reportedly now well below its 53-man limit, and with no game, the Huskies would technically win the North based on their winning percentage, but if all of their players have to quarantine for 14 days, it doesn't look good for them to play in the Pac-12 title game. Trips from Seattle to Vancouver and Portland could be as quick as an hour. A new government report on a high-speed rail recommended that Oregon, Washington, and British Columbia formalize their interest in a bullet train. It has the support of Governor Jay Inslee, along with Oregon's governor and the premier of British Columbia. But an analyst associated with Washington State Policy Center recommends against moving forward with a bullet train, citing plenty of problems with California's high-speed rail project. The study reports there is sufficient demand, though, for trains that run up to 250 miles per hour. That's your morning rush. More news in less time. Let us know what's happening in your neighborhood with the hashtag #UpWithKREM on social media. Coming up on our next half hour of Up with KREM, we are tracking the latest on the coronavirus outbreak at the Airway Heights Correction Center.
All of the things that an individual would normally be able to do as far as having healthy outlets have now been taken away.
And we spoke to local activists about the conditions, as well as an inmate who recently tested positive for COVID and shares his perspective from inside. Plus, Up with KREM's favorite pop star released her 9th studio album early this morning. Today, we're talking about Taylor Swift's newest album for New Music Friday.
Ooh, looking forward to that. And we've got a little bit of snow coming down. I'm going to let you know what to expect this morning and when those biggest impacts will take place when it comes to the commute.